Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin.
At the quiet center of our wide sky, there is a place that does not make its own light. It sits like a still pond at night, yet it pulls on everything around it like the tide that moves the moon. This place is called Sagittarius A, and it is the black heart of our Milky Way. When we look toward it from Earth, we peer through fields of stars and fogs of dust. The view is soft and full of glitter, like a handful of sand catching the sun. But deep in that glitter sits a heavy presence that drinks the light itself. Even though our eyes cannot see it, we can feel its pull across thousands of light years. It is a patient eater. It waits, it listens, it holds. Imagine standing on a quiet shore at dawn. The water is dark and smooth, and a faint wind brushes your face. You hear the low hush of waves. The sound is not loud, but it fills the world. The black hole at our center is like that hush. It makes no sound we can hear, and yet its gravity is the soft drum that keeps time for the stars that dance near it. Those stars move in fast, tight loops like bees circling a flower. Their paths are not straight. Their paths curve and bend because the space around the black hole is like a sheet pulled into a deep well. The deeper the well, the sharper the curve. The stars do not fall in because they move so quickly, but they cannot fly away either. They sway, circle, return, and keep their careful time. A black hole is not a hole in the way a hole in the ground is a gap. It is a place where a great amount of matter has been pressed into a very small space. Think of a mountain. Then imagine pressing that mountain into a single seed. The weight is still there, but the room it takes up is tiny. The pull grows strong and stronger the closer you are. At some point, the pull becomes so strong that even light, which is the fastest thing we know, cannot escape. That point is called the event horizon. It is like a shoreline you cannot cross. If you step beyond it, there is no path back. The sea is too strong. The current runs only one way. Outside the event horizon, things can still dance and glow and sing. Inside it, we do not know what happens, only that it is hidden from us, kept secret behind the curtain of gravity. When we speak about Sagittarius A, we are speaking about something that weighs as much as millions of suns. Imagine counting to 1,000,000 by placing 1 grain of rice for each number. The pile would grow and grow. Now imagine doing that again and again and again until the pile holds the weight of 4 million suns or more. That is the kind of weight we mean. It is so heavy that the space around it is shaped like a calm, dark whirlpool. Stars rush by in bright loops, and clouds of gas stretch and thin like spun sugar. The closer the gas drifts to the center, the faster it moves and the hotter it becomes. Sometimes the gas glows before it falls, like a firefly that flares before sleep. Then the glow fades and the gas is gone, swallowed into the quiet. We cannot look straight at the black hole, but we can look at what it does to the world around it. Astronomers watch the stars near the center of the Milky Way. They give them names like S2, S38, or S4711, but names are just a way to keep track of lovely dancers. These stars whip around the center in years instead of ages, tracing ellipses that close like the loops of a ribbon. By watching their loops, scientists can weigh the hidden thing at the center, the way a child can guess how heavy a stone is by the size of the splash it makes. The loops say it is very heavy and very small, and it sits almost perfectly still while space bends around it like a soft blanket being pulled into a cup. If you could drift closer, you would see that time itself becomes stretchy near such weight. Clocks that tick near the black hole tick more slowly than clocks far away. It is not a trick, it is the way the universe works. Gravity is not only a pull, it is also a shape, a bend in the fabric of space and time. Think of a trampoline with a bowling ball resting at its center. The fabric dips around the ball, and anything that rolls by curves toward the dip. Now slow your thinking and imagine that the fabric is not only space, but time as well. Where the fabric dips, time runs slow, like a stream pooling in a shaded cove. Where the fabric lies flat, time runs faster, like a sunny brook skipping over stones. Near Sagittarius A, time is a slow tide that leans toward the dark. Light near the center also takes a winding path. When a ray of light passes close to the black hole, it bends, the way a breeze bends long grass in a field. If you were far away and watched a star behind the center, its light might arc around and you could see a ring or a halo called an Einstein ring. It is a circle shaped by gravity's gentle hand. These rings and arcs are rare and hard to catch, like rainbows that last only a moment. But they tell us that even the fastest runner in the universe, the photon, must bow and curve when it passes by such weight. Dust and gas near the center glow in forms we cannot see with our eyes alone. They whisper in radio waves, hum in infrared light, and buzz in X-rays. Special telescopes can listen to each of these songs. The radio telescopes are like great ears pointed at the sky, spread across Earth, listening together as one. They can draw a blurry picture of the area just outside the event horizon. In that glow, we learn about hot, thin gas spinning and falling. We learn about flares that rise and fade as small knots of matter blaze briefly before they are pulled inward. The picture is never sharp like a photograph of a flower on your table, but it is a true picture all the same, painted with patient measurements and careful math. You may wonder if a black hole is always eating. The answer is softer than yes or no. Sometimes the center is quiet for long stretches. Clouds drift by but keep their distance. Stars loop and sing and do not feed it. Other times a pocket of gas wanders too close, like a leaf drawn to a drain. The gas spirals in. It heats up and shines for a while and then it is gone. Once in a great while a star may stray, like a slow fish that swims too near a deep mouth. The star can be torn apart, pulled into a ribbon of bright, hot matter. Some of that ribbon falls in. Some swirls around and escapes as a thin wind. In the long story of the galaxy, the black hole is not a hungry monster that never stops. It is more like a very old tree that drinks when rain comes and waits when the dry season returns. The pull of Sagittarius A helps give our galaxy its shape. The Milky Way is a disk with bright arms that curl like the streams of milk in a glass of water. Those arms drift and twist and form new stars. In the center sits a bulge of older stars, golden and dense, with the black hole buried in its heart. The stars far out in the arms are like children, bright and hot and young. The stars near the center are more like grandparents, softer, redder, slower, full of calm light. They know the rhythm of the central pull. They tilt and turn with it, as if nodding to the music of a very slow drum. On Earth, we live far from the center, about 26,000 light-years away. That distance is so large that it is hard to feel. A light-year is how far light travels in a year, and light is very fast. If you could ride a beam of light as if it were a river, you would still need tens of thousands of years to cross from here to the center. Even so, the center touches us. It helps hold our galaxy together. It is the deep root of our sky tree, buried in darkness, feeding us with a force we cannot see but can feel in the shapes of the stars and the way our home rotates in calm, patient turns. What would it be like to stand near a black hole? Not on it because there is no surface to stand on, but near it just outside the event horizon. The light from your own hand would bend back, the stars would smear into arcs. Time would slow so that a minute for you might be hours for someone far away. Your body would feel the gradient of gravity. Your feet would be pulled a little harder than your head. If you were too close, that difference could stretch you. But the black hole at our center is so large that outside its horizon the pull changes gently over small distances. If you floated in a sturdy ship at a safe remove, you might not feel a sharp tug at all. You would feel a smooth, steady heaviness, like sinking into a deep bath. You would look out and find the universe curved into a dark circle rimmed with light. Some people wonder what is inside a black hole. Our best ideas say there is a point where the math goes quiet, where our words and numbers stop working. We call it a singularity, but the name is like a folded note. It hides more than it tells. The truth is we do not know. The laws that work so well for planets and stars, for light and time, bend too far at that point. Maybe one day we will find new laws that can walk there, like a lantern bright enough to show the path in that deep cave. For now, we listen to the edges and learn from the rim. The rim is honest. The rim glows. The rim tells us how space and time fit together and how matter behaves when it is pressed thin and hot. If you let your mind drift over long spans of time, the black hole becomes a slow storyteller. It remembers each cloud that came near, each star that looped past. Its memory is not carved in pages, but in the paths of things around it. The orbits of stars are like rings in a tree trunk. By reading them, we can tell the age of events, the strength of the pull, and the calm way the center holds its court. When a star finishes one full loop around the center, it is like a bell ringing once in a vast cathedral. The sound is not in air, but in numbers. Astronomers write those numbers down and with them draw soft maps of the central sway. There is a kind of gentle pride in knowing that W. E on our blue world have learned to watch something so far and strange. We build instruments that sit on mountaintops where the air is thin and clear. We send mirrors into space where they are free from the blur of our own sky. We join many telescopes into one by matching their clocks so closely that they keep time together across oceans. With this patience, we can see a ring of hot matter outline the darkness, like steam tracing the rim of a still pool. That outline is the echo of a boundary we cannot cross. It is the last light we can gather before it slides into the night beyond sight. Sometimes you can almost feel the center listening back. Of course, it does not have ears or thoughts, but there is a sense when you look long enough that the universe is aware of its own shapes. Gravity is an old song, matter is the dancer, light is the paint on the dancer's hands, and Sagittarius A is the deep drum that keeps the beat steady and slow, never rushed, never harsh. If you close your eyes and breathe with that rhythm, the scale of it does not feel scary. It feels spacious. It feels restful. It feels like lying on your back in a field at night and letting your eyes adjust until you can taste the cold in the stars. We sometimes call the black hole a monster. The word helps us picture its power. Yet monsters in bedtime tales stomp and shout. This one does not. It lifts no claw. It breathes no fire. It is a silence that shapes. It is a calm that holds. It is a gardener with a very long calendar, pruning the galaxy not with shears, but with slow, patient gravity. In this garden, stars are born live and fade. Gas gathers and spreads. Dust clumps and drifts. The black hole stands in the shade, watching the seasons turn, guiding with a gentle pull. Think about a feather falling through air. If the air is thick, the feather turns and slows and rests. If the air is thin, it drops more quickly. Near the black hole, space itself is thicker with gravity. Paths turn, motion slows. Things that could once leave must now choose curves that keep them near. The idea is simple enough to hold in your hand and yet large enough to wrap a galaxy. That is one of the lovely tricks of the universe. The same rules that guide a tossed pebble help guide a star. The same curves we draw in classroom diagrams are the curves the stars themselves draw in the dark. Let's drift deeper into the thought of light itself. Light is a traveler. It likes straight lines. It likes speed. It writes messages from far-off places and carries them to us. Near Sagittarius A, light is asked to take a different path. It leans. It lingers. It is red-shifted, which means its color stretches toward the softer, longer waves, like a violin note sliding down to a cello's voice. This happens because climbing out of a deep gravity well costs energy, and light pays that cost by giving up a bit of its color. When we measure that color change, we learn how deep the well is. We learn how strong the pull must be. Even the quietest things leave traces if we look with care. There is also a kind of weather near the center. Not clouds of water like ours, but clouds of hot gas and tiny dust grains. The dust is like flour, very fine, drifting and clumping in long lanes. Magnetic fields, which are like invisible lines drawn through space by moving charges, can guide that gas and dust. They can twist it into ropes and threads, shaping how it falls and where it shines. The fields and the gas talk to each other in a slow back and forth, building patterns that can flare and fade. When a flare brightens for an hour, it is like lightning in slow motion, a reminder that even near the calmest dark, there are moments of brief, quiet fire. You can almost feel from here the patient weight of those millions of suns. It is not a threat. It is a simple fact, like the weight of a mountain or the depth of the sea. We live our small lives in the soft outer arms of the galaxy. We raise our faces to the winter sky and look toward the center when the season is right. We see a smudge, a thickening of starlight, and behind it lies the great hush. Knowing it is there does not make the night colder, it makes it richer. It gives the dark a texture, like velvet under your hand. At last, let your thoughts rest on a single image, a ring of fireflies moving in a slow circle over a well at midnight. The fireflies are the hot knots of gas, bright for a moment as they spiral inward. The well is the black hole, silent and deep, from which no light returns. Around the well are trees, standing as the older stars stand in their bulge, guarding and watching. Above, the sky is wide and patient, the way time itself is wide and patient. You are there on the edge, listening to the soft hum. You do not need to know the names of all the stars or the sums behind the shapes. It is enough to feel the calm design. It is enough to know that at the heart of our galaxy is a quiet power that holds us all towed. They're not with fear, but with a steady, gentle pull. Now imagine walking home under that same sky. The path is the same path. The stones are the same stones, but you carry a new sense of balance inside you, like a small level that shows when you are steady. The thought of the center brings a slow breath. It reminds you that the largest things do not rush. They wait, they turn, they keep time. And with that thought, the world softens and the night grows kind, and the stars above our blue world shine like patient silver seeds. Far above the horizon of our world, the Milky Way stretches like a pale river, winding across the velvet sky. In its vast sweep lies not only beauty but structure, the hidden clockwork of gravity and time. And deep within, the black heart we call Sagittarius A continues its slow and steady influence. To understand it more deeply is to explore not only what it is, but also how it touches everything around it, like the unseen roots of a tree spreading far beneath the forest floor. Each branch of the galaxy, each glowing arm, owes part of its grace to that unseen root. The black hole is silent, but silence does not mean absence. It is the foundation of the song. As scientists traced the orbits of stars near the galactic center, they uncovered secrets hidden in the dance of light. One star, known as S2, became a messenger for us. It moves around the black hole in just 16 years, a blink compared to the lives of stars that last billions. When it rushes close to the black hole, it moves at a fraction of the speed of light, so fast that even planets and comets seem slow in comparison. Observing S2's path, astronomers confirmed that space and time bend exactly as Einstein described. The light from S2 stretched, its color sliding toward red as it climbed out of the black hole's gravity. This redshift was not just a theory but a measured truth, a quiet confirmation that the universe follows rules written in the very fabric of space. Let's drift into the thought of time itself. Time is a current flowing evenly for us here on Earth, or so it seems. Yet near Sagittarius A, the current slows. For a star like S2, the moments stretch so that from our view its heartbeat seems delayed. If you were there, within that gravity, your own heartbeat would feel unchanged. You would breathe in and breathe out, unaware that to the rest of the universe you had become a little slower, a little softer in motion. Time's stream is not universal. It bends, pools, and deepens where gravity is strong. It is as if the cosmos is not built on a rigid clock, but on a fabric that can be gathered in folds. Gas drifting toward the center often forms an accretion disk, a swirling plate of fire that glows with incredible heat. Imagine a whirlpool of glowing dust, each particle rubbing against the next, releasing energy as they spiral down. This disk is one of the few places where the black hole reveals itself with light. Flares leap up as magnetic fields twist and snap, releasing sudden bursts of brightness that ripple outward across the galaxy. These flares do not last long, sometimes just minutes or hours, like brief lanterns in the night. Yet they tell us that even in the quiet, the black hole's edges are alive with change. The gas sings, the light bends, and the darkness listens. We often think of black holes as destroyers, but they are also givers of shape. Without the gravity of Sagittarius A, the stars near the center might wander loosely, the bulge might dissolve, and the arms might lose their spiral grace. Instead, the pull keeps the galaxy together, much like a stone dropped into a pond shapes the ripples spreading outward. The spiral arms are not pulled into the black hole, but they are guided by the central weight, each curve a response to the silent anchor at the core. In this way, the black hole is less a monster devouring its home, and more a heart beating softly, holding the body of the galaxy in rhythm. Now let's imagine the journey of a single photon of light. It begins in the hot core of a star near the center, born from the fusion of atoms. It moves outward, bouncing through layers of plasma until at last it escapes into the open. Its path might seem straight, but near the black hole it bends, drawn into curves. Some photons are captured entirely, spiraling down until they vanish beyond the event horizon. Others loop around, forming arcs of light that create glowing halos. A few escape, carrying with them a story of where they have been. By catching these travelers with our telescopes, we learn about the shape of space near the edge, the texture of the unseen horizon. Each photon is a letter from the darkness, written in light. The Event Horizon Telescope, a network of radio telescopes spread across Earth, joined together to capture an image of Sagittarius A. It was not a picture in the way we see with our eyes, but a map of radio waves gathered from all sides of our world, stitched with ka. Ray into one view, what appeared was a shadow, a round darkness surrounded by a glowing ring. The ring was the last light, circling near the event horizon before falling in. The shadow was not the black hole itself, but the mark of its presence, the silence at the center of a bright chorus. When people saw this image, they felt a mixture of awe and calm. For the first time, we could glimpse the face of our own galaxy's heart, soft and blurred, yet true. Think now of the scale. The shadow of Sagittarius A appears small in the sky, about the size of a bagel on the surface of the moon if you could hold it in your hand from Earth. And yet, that tiny shape is millions of times the mass of the sun. It sits 26,000 light-years away, but we can still see its outline by listening carefully to the whispers of light. This is the quiet patience of science, to wait, to gather, to combine faint signals until the picture emerges, not sharp like a photograph of a flower, but gentle and abstract like the brushstrokes of watercolor. Even blurred, the truth shines through. It is enough to know it is real, that the heart beats, that the silence has shape. Around the black hole, some stars dance dangerously close. Astronomers call them S-stars. Their orbits are tight and swift, some circling in just a few years. These stars allow us to measure gravity in its most intense form outside the event horizon. One star, S4716, has the closest orbit yet measured, whipping around the black hole in just over 4 years. At its nearest point, it races so quickly that space itself bends its path into near circles. Watching it is like watching a firefly drawn again and again toward a dark lantern, never touching, but always swayed. These orbits show us that the black hole is not alone, but is part of a dance, a conductor of stars who bow and return in endless loops. If we step back in time, the black hole may not have always been so calm. In ancient ages, clouds of gas might have fed it more richly, sparking jets of energy that lit the galaxy's core. Evidence of such flares still lingers, written in X-rays that echo in clouds far from the center. It is as if the black hole once spoke more loudly, and the walls of the galactic chamber still carry its echo. Today it is quiet, feeding only rarely, but the memory of its brighter times is etched into the light that spreads outward. Like an old musician, it may rest between songs, but its presence remains steady, shaping the silence as much as the sound. We might ask what would happen if Sagittarius A were not there. The galaxy would lack its center of weight. The stars would not have their anchor. Over billions of years, the disk could spread thinner, the spiral arms less defined. The quiet stability we see now might loosen into a softer drift. Our solar system, far in the outer arm, might not notice for many generations, but eventually the shape of our home would change. In this sense, the black hole is not only part of the Milky Way, it is the Milky Way's heart. Without it, the galaxy would not be what it is. Its silent pull is as vital as the blood in our veins, unseen yet essential. The thought of such an immense and hidden power often stirs feelings of unease. But if we lean closer with a calm heart, we see a different story. Sagittarius A is not reaching outward to seize us. Its pull is balanced, steady, and constant. Our sun orbits the center of the galaxy once every 200 million years, far too distant to ever fall inward. We here on Earth are safe in the outer arms, free to gaze at the stars without fear. The black hole is not a threat, but a deep foundation, a quiet guide. Its hunger is real, but it is not wild. It eats slowly, rarely, and with long pauses. Its presence is less a mouth and more a weight, the kind of weight that gives structure and meaning. Let us linger on the image of gravity as a loom. The black hole sits at the center, and the threads of space stretch outward in every direction. Stars are woven into these threads, following their patterns, crossing and turning. The spiral arms are like long strands of silk, curling from the hub. Each motion of a star is a shuttle passing across the fabric, guided by the curves the black hole provides. If you look closely at the night sky, you see the weave. Stars forming clusters, clusters forming streams, streams bending into arms. All of it is one vast tapestry, with Sagittarius A as the knot that holds the pattern together. On some nights, the galactic center rises in the southern sky, glowing faintly through dust and haze. To the naked eye, it looks like a pale patch, but to cameras and telescopes, it reveals rivers of light, thick with stars. Knowing that beyond those stars lies the black hole gives the sight a deeper calm. It is like looking at a mountain shrouded in mist, knowing the peak is there even if you cannot see it. The mountain does not need to show itself to be real. Its shape is real. And in the rivers, in the clouds, in the valleys that flow away from it. So too is the black hole written in the paths of stars and the soft arcs of light. In the end, Sagittarius A reminds us that the universe is not only about brightness but also about silence. Stars are candles, galaxies are lanterns, but black holes are the deep spaces between notes. They are the pauses that give music shape. Without pauses, sound is noise. With them, sound becomes song. The black hole at the center of our galaxy is a pause so deep that it bends light, time, and matter around it. And yet from that pause, beauty arises. The spiral arms, the gentle bulge, the flowing balance of the Milky Way. So let your thoughts drift as though you are a leaf on a slow river. The river is the galaxy, wide and long. The current is gravity, calm and guiding. And the dark well at the center is the basin into which the river flows, shaping its course though never needing to speak. You float onward, steady, peaceful, part of the same pattern. You are far from the center, yet the center touches you as it touches every star, every planet, every drifting grain of dust. The black hole is not only the galaxy's heart. In some soft and quiet way, it is part of yours too, because you live inside the pattern it holds. The galaxy breathes slowly, turning once in hundreds of millions of years, and at its core, Sagittarius A continues to rest like a still tide pool that shapes the entire shore. To close the story of this hidden heart, we must step into the quiet mystery it leaves unanswered. It is not only an object of weight and pull, but also a mirror for our wonder, a reminder that there are places where knowledge ends and curiosity begins. In this space, science meets poetry, and the universe feels both larger and more intimate. Some scientists speak of the future of our galaxy, billions of years from now. The Milky Way will drift into its neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy, and the two will merge in a slow and graceful collision. The spiral arms will tangle, stars will scatter, and gas will form new bursts of creation. And at the heart of each galaxy, a supermassive black hole waits. In time, the two black holes will draw closer, spiraling inward until they merge. When they finally meet, they will send ripples through space and time itself, waves of gravity spreading like the rings of a bell struck in the night. Those waves will move across the cosmos, carrying the news of the union. It will be a long future, far beyond our age, but even now we can imagine the deep calm of that embrace, two silent hearts becoming one. Black holes, though dark, are not barren. Around them, matter transforms, stars sway, and time bends. They are laboratories of extremes, places where our understanding falters and where new truths may one day be found. Some scientists wonder if within their depths lies a doorway, a tunnel through space-time, perhaps leading to other universes. Others are cautious, saying that what lies inside may not be a path but an end, a singularity where the laws of physics dissolve. Either way, the mystery is itself a gift, because it calls us to continue looking, measuring, dreaming. The unknown is not a wall but an open sea, inviting us to sail a little farther each generation. If we turn inward, we may see a reflection of Sagittarius A in ourselves. Just as the galaxy has a hidden center, so do we carry inner depths not seen on the surface. We are shaped not only by what shines, our thoughts, our words, our bright acts, but also by what rests in silence, memory, feeling, the weight of our histories. The black hole reminds us that darkness is not only an absence but a presence, a place that gives form to what surrounds it. Without its pull, the stars of the galaxy would wander loosely. Without our inner stillness, our lives would scatter without rhythm. The center gives coherence, even when unseen. Imagine walking once more beneath the arc of the Milky Way. The night is cool. The stars shimmer in their gentle multitudes. Somewhere behind the haze and dust of the galactic core lies the quiet horizon of Sagittarius A. You cannot see it, but you can feel its truth in the shape of the river of stars, in the patience of the spiral arms, in the way the galaxy turns. It does not need to reveal itself to hold its place. Its silence is enough. The sky, as you look up, is a mirror of balance, light and dark, known and unknown, question and answer. One of the most touching lessons from studying Sagittarius A is how human it feels to search for something invisible. We point our instruments, we wait for flares, we track stars, we gather whispers of light. We are patient, fragile creatures, yet we reach across thousands of light years to touch an unseen heart. The act itself is a poem, a reminder that to be human is to seek, to wonder, to rest our heads against the window of the cosmos and listen for its breath. And in that listening, we find calm. The black hole is not only a scientific object, but a companion to our curiosity. Over time, as technology grows sharper, we will learn more. New telescopes will watch the glow of matter near the event horizon with finer eyes. Arrays of detectors will listen for gravitational waves that tell of hidden mergers. Each discovery will give us clearer outlines of the dark. But no matter how much we learn, the mystery will never vanish entirely. The horizon will always remain, a boundary we cannot cross. This balance of knowing and not knowing is part of the beauty. It leaves room for awe. It leaves space for dreams. Let us drift into the thought of endings. Stars burn their fuel and fade. Planets circle for a time and then may be lost. Even galaxies change shape and merge. But the black hole endures, steady across billions of years. It does not burn out. It does not fade quickly. It holds its silence with patience longer than most things in the universe. To know this is to feel the scale of time in a new way. Our lives are short breaths by comparison, and yet those breaths are not small. They are part of the same pattern, woven into the same fabric. The presence of the black hole, calm and steady, can remind us that even brief moments matter when set inside the long song of the cosmos. Picture finally a star drifting too near, stretched into a bright ribbon, glowing as it falls inward. For an instant, the galaxy shines a little brighter. Then the light fades, the star becomes part of the dark, and the silence returns. Such events are rare, but they remind us that even in loss there is transformation. Energy is not destroyed but changed, carried into new forms, feeding the balance of the whole. The black hole is not cruel in this. It is simply part of the cycle, a receiver of matter, a sculptor of time, a hidden gardener trimming with gravity's invisible shears. And so the story of Sagittarius A comes to rest not as a tale of terror, but as a lullaby of balance. The monster at the galaxy's core is not a roaring beast, but a quiet anchor. It devours, yes, but it also holds. It shapes. It guides. It reminds us that the universe is written not only in brightness, but also in stillness, not only in sound, but also in pause. To think of it is to slow our breathing, to feel the calm weight beneath the swirl of stars, to rest in the knowledge that something so vast and strange can also be gentle in its own way. Now imagine closing your eyes beneath that wide sky. The stars continue their loops, the arms of the galaxy drift in their spirals, and at the center the black hole waits, silent, patient, steady. You are far away, but you are part of it. You live within its hold. You are one of the many sparks circling in the great pattern, and in that thought you can rest as if the universe itself were whispering, you belong to the rhythm, you are part of the calm. The heart of the galaxy beats, and so do you together, softly, endlessly. When we lift our eyes to the night sky, we are struck first by light. Stars scatter like drops of silver across a dark canvas, and galaxies appear as pale rivers stretched thin, But if you let your vision soften, you will notice something deeper. Between each shimmer of starlight lies a quiet vastness. It is not merely empty. It is a presence, a hush that holds the brightness in place. This is the silence beneath the stars, the dark sea in which constellations swim. It is not absence, but a substance of its own, woven into the very fabric of the universe. Space itself is not still. It stretches, expands, and hums with faint whispers left from the birth of everything. Scientists call this faint glow the cosmic microwave background, the afterecho of the Big Bang. It is not loud, it is not sharp. It is a soft blanket of energy, a memory of when the universe was young and glowing everywhere at once. Now, billions of years later, that memory has cooled to near silence, to a faint breath spread thin across the cosmos. When we speak of silence beneath the stars, we are also speaking of this gentle glow, an echo so quiet that only the most delicate instruments can hear it. Imagine sitting by a still pond in the woods. Frogs leap and insects hum, but beneath those sounds lies a deep quiet. The pond reflects the trees and the sky, but its silence holds the scene together. The universe is like that pond. Stars and galaxies hum with energy, but beneath them is a stillness that allows their dance to exist. The silence is not nothing, it is the structure, the canvas, the stage. Without it, there would be no place for the play of light and matter. The silence beneath the stars is the hidden partner in the performance. Yet silence in space is not the same as silence on Earth. Here, silence means the absence of air to carry sound. In the vacuum of space, no ear could hear footsteps or whispers, but silence in the cosmic sense is grander than that. It is the absence of friction, the openness that allows planets to circle their stars for billions of years without slowing down. It is the reason galaxies can glide through the void without dragging against unseen walls. This silence is freedom, the great stillness that permits motion on scales our minds can barely hold. Astronomers once believed the sky was filled with an invisible ether, a substance that carried light the way air carries sound. But experiments showed otherwise. Light does not need a medium. It moves through silence itself, through the emptiness of space. This discovery reshaped how we understand the cosmos. The stars above are not hung on a ceiling, nor carried by unseen winds. They are suspended in silence, connected only by gravity's unseen threads. Each photon of light born in the core of a star crosses light years of emptiness without pause, until it lands gently in the pupil of your eye. The silence beneath the stars is also a silence of time. The light we see from a star tonight may have left it thousands of years ago. For galaxies, the delay is millions or billions. When you look up, you are not seeing the stars as they are now, but as they once were. The silence between us and them is filled with age, like a letter sent across centuries. To read the sky is to read history, to know that every shimmer is a memory carried by light. Silence does not erase voices. It preserves them, carrying them patiently until they arrive. Consider the space between galaxies. Astronomers call it the intergalactic medium. It is almost empty, just a few atoms drifting in a vastness larger than our imaginations. And yet those lonely atoms trace filaments that weave the cosmic web, the grand structure of the universe. Where the threads cross, galaxies gather, clusters form, and new stars are born. The silence beneath the stars is not barren. It is a loom weaving connections on scales so immense we can only glimpse them in fragments. What seems like nothing is the quiet scaffolding of everything. In your own body, silence is present too. Between atoms lies empty space. The particles themselves are small, but the space between them is large. If the nucleus of an atom were the size of a marble, the nearest electron would be like a firefly buzzing 100 yards away. The rest is silence. And yet that silence does not weaken you. It holds you. It allows light to move, fields to interact, and life to exist. The silence beneath the stars is the same silence within you. The void is not a threat. It is the gentle frame of being. Let us drift further. Beyond the reach of stars lies true interstellar space, where the solar wind fades and the particles of our sun no longer rule. The Voyager spacecraft, tiny messengers launched decades ago, now float there, listening to the quiet. Their instruments detect faint plasma waves, whispers of particles drifting between stars, but mostly they listen to silence. It is a silence so deep that it calms the mind to imagine it, a silence that has lasted for billions of years and will last billions more. In that silence, our small ships carry greetings from Earth, tiny voices carried outward on a sea of stillness. The silence beneath the stars teaches patience. Stars live and die across billions of years. Galaxies turn in spirals longer than the history of our world. To them, our lives are like sparks, brief and delicate. Yet within the silence, each spark has meaning. The quiet does not diminish the flame. It lets the flame be seen. Your breath, your heartbeat, your small joys and sorrows all unfold in the same silence that carries galaxies. To know this is to feel both humbled and comforted, as though the universe itself is a vast lullaby, and we are notes within it. And so when you stand under the night sky and feel the hush between the stars, you are touching the same fabric that binds the Milky Way, the same silence that carries the echoes of the Big Bang, the same stillness that holds galaxies in place. The silence is not empty. It is full of patience, full of memory, full of possibility. It is the breath of the cosmos, long and slow, holding the song of creation in its embrace. When we lean closer into the silence beneath the stars, we find that it is not a single quiet, but many layers of stillness interwoven. Each layer carries its own story, its own texture. The nearest layer is the hush of interstellar space, lying just beyond our sun's reach. Here, the solar wind grows faint, and the voices of our star fade into the wider cosmic ocean. Beyond that is the deeper stillness of the intergalactic void, where galaxies float like lanterns far apart from one another. And beneath all of it lies the most ancient silence of all, the faint glow of the universe's beginning, stretched thin into a low hum that fills the sky invisibly. These layers are like veils, each one quieter, each one softer, each one more timeless than the last. Let us first wander through the interstellar silence, the vast gulf between stars within our own Milky Way. Though we think of stars as neighbors, even the nearest lies 4 light years away. Light, the swiftest traveler we know, needs 4 whole years to cross that gap. If you set out aboard the fastest ship humanity has ever built, you would still need tens of thousands of years to arrive. Between here and there lies space so empty that a single atom may drift in a volume larger than a room. Yet this emptiness is not barren. Cosmic rays streak through it, silent and invisible. Dust grains float like faint snow, so thin that they would never gather in your hand. Magnetic fields curl across these distances, unseen threads that guide particles like currents in a hidden sea. Silence here is not nothingness, but a canvas upon which the galaxy paints its faintest brushstrokes. Now let us drift outward into intergalactic space, the vast gulfs between galaxies themselves. Here the silence deepens. Distances stretch into millions of light years, and even light grows weary in the telling. Galaxies cluster in webs, strung along filaments of dark matter like dew upon threads of a cosmic spider's weaving. Between these clusters lies almost pure void, where a handful of atoms may drift across entire cubic meters of space. The silence here is profound, yet even this quiet is not absolute. Faint background light from galaxies filters through. The cosmic web hums with the gravity of dark matter, unseen but felt in the shapes of galaxies as they gather. And sometimes, even across these gulfs, galaxies collide, their arms stretching in slow embraces that last hundreds of millions of years. The silence beneath the stars is not fragile, it is resilient, carrying the drama of the cosmos across unimaginable distances. Beneath even this lies the oldest silence, the one written into the fabric of space itself. After the Big Bang, the universe was a hot, glowing fog. As it expanded, it cooled, and light was freed to travel. That first light has never stopped moving. It has stretched and thinned, softened into microwaves, filling the sky as a faint glow. We cannot hear it with our ears, but radio receivers can catch its whisper. It is everywhere, in every direction, a reminder that silence is not absence but memory. This background is the soft afterglow of creation itself, a timeless hum in which all later stars and galaxies were born. It is as though the universe itself carries a lullaby, sung once, still echoing, still surrounding us. The silence beneath the stars is not broken by violence, even when stars explode or galaxies collide. For every supernova that rings out in light and energy, there are millions of years of quiet in which stars burn steadily, unseen by human eyes. For every collision of galaxies, there are eons when they drift peacefully through the void. Silence is the dominant note, noise is the brief interruption. The cosmos is more lullaby than thunder, more pause than shout. To listen is to realize that calmness is the rule, and that the universe's violence is rare punctuation in a story written mostly in soft tones. On Earth, we sometimes fear silence. We fill it with chatter, with machines, with music. Yet when we return to the sky, we find that silence is the natural state. The spaces between stars, between galaxies, even between atoms are mostly quiet. Matter is rare, noise is rare, and calm is abundant. To rest in this truth is to remember that silence is not loneliness. It is companionship with the widest pattern. It is the background against which all life unfolds. The silence beneath the stars is the same silence that holds the cells of your body together, the same quiet between the beats of your heart, the same stillness that rests between each thought as it forms. Some wonder whether this silence is truly empty, or whether it hides other voices we cannot yet hear. Perhaps faint signals of distant civilizations ripple through the quiet, too soft for our ears today. Perhaps subtle structures in dark matter shape the void in ways we have not yet imagined. Silence need not mean lack of story. It can also mean story waiting to be heard. Like a page without ink, it holds the potential for words. Like a canvas without paint, it holds the promise of color. The silence beneath the stars is both the history of what has passed and the promise of what may yet come. Let us imagine drifting through that silence in a small vessel. Outside, there is no wind, no sound of waves, only darkness sprinkled with faint stars. You float untethered and time feels different. Without noise, without motion, you become part of the stillness. You feel both small and infinite, fragile and eternal. The silence does not crush you, it holds you as softly as a mother holds a child. You realize that silence is not the absence of life, but its deepest cradle. It is the wide lap of the universe, waiting with patience older than stars. Even here, silence is never absolute. In the faint vibration of space itself, gravitatio. Now waves pass, rippling from the mergers of black holes and neutron stars. They are softer than any sound we know, stretching and squeezing space by less than the width of a proton. And yet we can measure them. They pass through us constantly, reminders that even in the silence beneath the stars, the universe still sings. Its song is not in words, but in vibrations, subtle and profound, weaving through the stillness like the faintest breath. The silence beneath the stars, then, is not a void to fear, but a home to cherish. It is the place where galaxies are born, where time stretches, where light carries stories from the past. It is the great ocean in which all brightness floats, patient and enduring. To know it is to find calm, to see that even the largest scales of existence are written not in chaos, but in peace. The stars dazzle, but the silence holds them, the way night holds dreams. And in that holding, the cosmos itself becomes a lullaby. The silence beneath the stars is not an ending, but a gentle continuation, a thread that stretches beyond sight. To bring this story to a close, let us rest in the ways silence shapes both the universe and ourselves. The quiet between stars is more than a background. It is the rhythm that allows brightness to shine, the pause that makes music possible. Without it, there would be no pattern, no harmony, no sense of space at all. Silence is the hidden breath of creation, always present, always patient. Think of the constellations we trace across the sky. Orion with his belt of stars, Cassiopeia with her tilted throne, the swan of Cygnus gliding on its wing. We remember these shapes not because of the stars alone, but because of the darkness between them. The spaces define the figures, give them form. A constellation is a story drawn with silence as much as with light. In this way, the universe whispers that absence is not a loss but a partner, that emptiness is not void but a frame. We see only because there is darkness to hold the seeing. This lesson is mirrored in art and music. A painting is not only brushstrokes but also blank canvas. A melody is not only notes but also rests. The rests give the notes meaning, the canvas gives the colors shape. In the same way, the stars are not only themselves, but also the silence between them. The cosmos is a symphony of light and quiet, and we, by looking up, become part of its audience. We take in both, even if we do not always notice the quiet half of the song. Science has begun to map silence itself. Instruments now detect not only light, but also the faint waves that pass through the universe when black holes collide. These waves do not disturb the silence, they ripple through it like breath across a sleeping face. The silence holds them, carries them, delivers them to us across billions of years. Even here, silence is not empty. It is alive, though its life is slow and subtle. To measure silence is to discover that stillness is never without story. In your own life, silence often arrives between moments of action. Between one breath and the next, there is a pause. Between one heartbeat and the next, there is a gap. Between thoughts, there is a stillness that feels like a clearing in the woods. These silences are not wasted, they are necessary, they are what allow life to flow. The silence beneath the stars is the same on a grand scale. Between galaxies, between epochs, between the birth and death of stars, there is a cosmic pause. In those pauses, the universe rests and gathers itself, ready for the next act of creation. Let us imagine the long future. Stars will burn out one by one, their fuel gone. Galaxies will dim, their arms faint. Over billions upon billions of years, light itself will fade. What will remain is silence, stretching into forever. Yet even then, silence will not be barren. It will be memory, holding the echoes of everything that has been. Just as a seashell holds the murmur of the ocean, so will cosmic silence hold the murmur of all time. It is not an end, but a vast rest, a final pause in the grand music. This vision might seem sad at first, but if we breathe with it, we find calm. The universe has always been mostly silence. It has always carried light like lanterns on a wide, quiet sea. That sea does not drown the lanterns, it lets them shine. If someday the lanterns fade, the sea will still hold them in memory. Silence is not loss. Silence is keeping. Silence is love stretched thin across time. When you stand outside on a clear night, far from city lights, you feel this truth. The stars shimmer, but the greater feeling is the stillness around them. You may hear a faint breeze, a rustle of leaves, the sound of your own breath. Yet beneath those sounds is a deeper hush, one that seems to rise from the stars themselves. That hush is not only out there, it is within you. You are made of atoms that are mostly empty space, shaped by forces that whisper across silence. The stillness in the night s. Kai and the stillness in your chest are the same. Even our stories about the universe are wrapped in silence. We write equations, build telescopes, gather data, but between each discovery lies long waiting. Years pass with instruments listening, recording, while the universe offers only faint whispers. Patience is required, and patience is a form of silence. Scientists, in their own way, are students of the quiet. They learn to wait, to listen, to respect the stillness. Their work is a dialogue with silence, and through it, the universe speaks softly. The silence beneath the stars is also a gift to wonder. If the sky were crowded with light, if every inch glowed, we might never see the depth of space. The darkness opens a window to infinity. It invites questions, dreams, stories. Ancient people looked into the silent sky and imagined gods, animals, and myths. Modern people look into it and imagine galaxies, black holes, and quantum fields. The silence has always been a canvas for imagination. It has always invited us to see more than what is visible. So as this story drifts to a close, let us carry the silence with us. It is not emptiness to fear, but calm to embrace. It is the pause that gives meaning to light, the stillness that shapes the stars, the rest that makes the music of the universe. To listen to it is to feel part of something vast, gentle, and eternal. It is to remember that we, too, are woven of light and silence, bright sparks in a quiet sea. When the stars above whisper, it is not only with light, but also with the silence that holds it. Now imagine lying back beneath the night sky, your eyes half closed, your breath slow. The stars are there, patient and far, and the silence between them wraps around you like a blanket. You are safe within it. You are part of it. The silence beneath the stars is not outside you, but within you, and in knowing this, you find peace. The cosmos is not shouting, it is humming softly. And in that hum, you can rest, calm, endless, whole. Gravity is a quiet sculptor. It has no voice, no color, no shape of its own. and yet it bends the universe as if the cosmos were soft clay. It tugs on planets, it cradles moons, it steers the paths of stars, and at its most mysterious, it drinks light itself. To speak of gravity that drinks light is to speak of the black holes, the strangest children of Einstein's equations, where space and time bow inward so deeply that even photons cannot escape. They are not holes carved out of matter, but wells carved out of space-time, dark fountains of silence from which nothing returns. Imagine light as a restless traveler. It is the fastest being in the universe, swift enough to cross the gap from the sun to Earth in just 8 minutes, fast enough to circle the globe 7 times in a single second. Light is freedom, always moving, never bound, and yet near a black hole, even light must bend its knee. Gravity, there is not only a pull, it is a reshaping of the stage itself. Paths that were once straight become curves. Straight lines no longer exist. For a photon, this is like running across a landscape where every road loops back toward a single center. No matter how fast you run, the curves bring you home again. The event horizon is the threshold where gravity's thirst becomes absolute. It is not a wall, not a surface you could touch, but a boundary in space. Beyond it, the escape velocity exceeds the speed of light. To cross it is to step into a place where the concept of leaving no longer makes sense. Outside, light may arc and dance, bending in circles called photon spheres, orbiting the black hole like moths around a lantern. But once light strays too close, once it falls past the horizon, it is gone. This is gravity drinking light, patiently, silently, completely. We see proof of this strange thirst not by looking into the black hole itself, but by watching its edge. When stars drift near, they stretch and twist, their light bending around the invisible core. Some of this light arcs back toward us, magnified, lensed into halos and rings. These Einstein rings are gravity's handwriting, signatures of space bent so tightly that light itself becomes curved script. It is one of the few ways we can glimpse the invisible, by reading the letters written in bent photons. Black holes come in many sizes. Some are the remnants of stars, collapsed into spheres no wider than a city, yet dense enough to trap all light within. Others are giants, millions or billions of times the mass of our sun, sitting in the hearts of galaxies. These titans drink not just single stars, but whole rivers of gas, glowing disks that swirl inward, heating until they shine with the light of 1,000 suns. The very act of falling into darkness creates brightness at the rim. It is a paradox. The darkest objects in the universe are often surrounded by the brightest crowns of light. Let us imagine what it would be like to hover near such a place, safely outside the horizon. You would see the sky twisted into strange shapes. Stars behind the black hole would appear smeared into arcs, their light bent into halos. Time itself would stretch. Your clock would tick, but far away, clocks would seem to tick faster. A second for you might be hours or days for someone watching from a distance. If you tried to send a beam of light outward, it would lean and curl, struggling against the deep pull. The universe would no longer feel flat, but curved and heavy, like walking across a great slope that falls away in every direction. The thought that gravity can drink light reshapes our understanding of what light is. Light is not untouchable. It is not immune. It is a traveler, yes, but one that must obey the shape of space-time. Einstein's vision of gravity was not a force pulling at distance, but a bending of the fabric of reality itself. Matter tells space-time how to curve, and space-time tells matter and light how to move. Near a black hole, the fabric is so curved that all paths lean inward. There are no exits. The trap is perfect, not because something pulls, but because the very geometry of space has changed. This idea brings with it both awe and humility. We like to imagine light as eternal, as a symbol of truth and freedom. But in the embrace of gravity, even light must surrender. And yet, in surrender, light teaches us more. By watching how it bends, how it circles, how it fades, we learn about the hidden shapes of space-time. We learn how mass and energy weave their web. We learn that the universe is not flat and still, but supple and dynamic, shaped by every star, every planet, every grain of matter. Black holes are simply the most extreme expression of this rule, the deepest folds in the cosmic cloth. When galaxies collide, their central black holes may spiral together, eventually merging into one. In those final moments, light flees, warped into spirals, but the true song is carried not in photons but in ripples of spacetime itself, gravitational waves. These waves roll outward like vibrations through a drumhead, carrying news of the merger across billions of light years. When we detect them on Earth, with instruments sensitive enough to measure changes smaller than an atom, we are hearing the sound of gravity drinking light, the echo of horizons folding into one another. It is not noise, but music written in silence. And yet black holes are not infinite devourers. Their thirst is steady, not wild. They do not chase matter, they wait. Stars can orbit them safely for millions of years, so long as they keep their distance. Planets, too, could circle a black hole, warmed by other sources of energy, stable as any planet around a sun. If our sun were replaced by a black hole of equal mass, Earth would continue to circle as before, though we would lose its light. The pull would not change. It is not the hunger, but the darkness that makes them strange. The idea of gravity drinking light is powerful, but it is not chaos. It is order, steady and calm. Now let us drift back to the beginning of this thought, gravity as sculptor. Without it, there would be no stars, no planets, no galaxies. Gas would not gather, light would not shine, life would not emerge. Gravity is the reason atoms met and stars were born, and at its deepest, it is the reason black holes exist, the reason there are places where even light must bow. The silence of a black hole is not destruction, but design. It is gravity showing us its purest shape, a reminder that even freedom has limits, and that those limits can be beautiful. As you breathe beneath your own sky tonight, remember that light from distant stars has crossed billions of years to reach you. Some of it passed near black holes, bent and curved, stretched and softened. Some of it fell into darkness and never escaped. What you see is the survivor's tale, the light that found its way through silence. To know this is to see not only stars, but also the hidden wells that shape them, the dark places where gravity drinks light and in doing so gives the universe its grand, calm form. To wander further into the idea of gravity that drinks light, we must step beyond images of stars and halos and sink into the deeper science hidden beneath the poetry. Gravity is not only a pull that keeps your feet on the earth, it is the quiet shape of spacetime itself, bent by every ounce of matter and energy. When you sit still, you bend spacetime faintly. When the Earth orbits the Sun, it is not pulled by a rope, but guided by the curved geometry around our star. This invisible geometry is usually gentle, but near a black hole, it sharpens into something steep, a descent so deep that light itself cannot climb back out. Imagine spacetime as a vast fabric stretched tight. Place a pebble on it and the fabric dips a little. That dip is what keeps the pebble's neighbors drifting near. Now place a mountain on the fabric. The dip deepens and paths curve more strongly. Final. Imagine compressing the mountain into a single grain. The weight has not vanished, but the space it occupies is tiny. The dip becomes so sharp that the fabric folds into a pit. This is the black hole, the place where spacetime has curved into itself. A photon that once skimmed across the surface now spirals into the fold. The light is not pulled. It is guided by the shape, and the shape leaves no path outward. The place where light is trapped is marked by the event horizon. To an outside observer, this horizon is a sphere around the black hole, smooth and still. It is not a physical surface, but a threshold in geometry. Anything crossing it can no longer return. For those inside, time continues, though differently than we imagine. For those outside, it appears as though time slows near the horizon, as if falling objects freeze in place, their light stretched thinner and thinner until it fades. The horizon is not a wall. It is a silence, a one-way veil where stories vanish from view. And yet, even the horizon is not entirely mute. Stephen Hawking revealed that black holes are not perfectly black. Quantum effects near the horizon allow particles of light to escape, in a faint glow now called Hawking radiation. Over immense timescales, this means black holes can slowly evaporate, giving back the light they once drank. For the largest black holes, this process is longer than the lifetime of galaxies, but the idea changes our understanding. A black hole is not an eternal prison. It is a vessel with a slow leak, a cup that eventually empties back into the cosmos. Gravity's thirst is patient, but even it has an end. The edges of black holes also reveal the most powerful engines in the universe. When gas spirals inward, it does not fall silently. It collides, heats, and shines, releasing more energy than stars themselves. Some of this energy escapes as jets, twin beams of particles and light that shoot outward at nearly the speed of light, stretching across thousands of light years. These jets are lighthouses of the cosmos, visible from across intergalactic space. They are paradoxes of silence and sound. From the darkness that drinks light, enormous rivers of light are born. The very act of feeding a black hole lights the galaxy around it. Quasars, the brightest beacons we know, are black holes at their hungriest. When galaxies were young, their central giants often fed on rich flows of gas, glowing brighter than the galaxies that housed them. The light of quasars has crossed billions of years to reach us, carrying news of an era when the universe was loud with growth. Yet even these luminous outbursts are brief compared to the long quiet of black holes. After the feast, silence returns. The jets fade, the glow dims, and the black hole resumes its patient waiting. It is in this rhythm of hunger and pause that gravity shows both its thirst and its calm. The bending of light near black holes is also a tool for us to see the unseen. Astronomers use gravitational lensing, the magnification of distant galaxies by massive objects in front of them, to peer into corners of the cosmos otherwise too faint. Clusters of galaxies act as natural telescopes, their mass curving spacetime so strongly that background light is bent and focused toward us. In this way, gravity's ability to drink light also allows us to gather it. The universe hides and reveals itself with the same gesture, offering us deeper sight through the very force that bends photons away. And what of time near these dark wells? The closer you drift to the horizon, the slower your clock ticks compared to those far away. This time dilation means that someone watching from Earth would see you slow down, your motion stretched into stillness. To you, time would feel normal, flowing steadily. But you could never return to tell your story because the path outward is gone. In this strange way, black holes divide the experience of time itself, splitting the universe into two perspectives that can never meet. Gravity does not only drink light, it drinks moments, swallowing futures into its depth. Let us think of the smallest black holes, those formed from the collapse of stars. When a massive star reaches the end of its life, its core collapses under its own weight. The pressure of electrons and neutrons can resist for a time, forming neutron stars or white dwarfs. But when the mass is too great, nothing can stop the collapse. The core falls inward without end, curving spacetime into a pit. The outer layers explode as a supernova, but the heart becomes a black hole. Here is gravity's thirst in its purest birth, the weight of a star folding into a silence that no light can leave. Now imagine a supermassive black hole, millions or billions of times heavier than the sun. How do such giants form? The truth is still a mystery. Perhaps they were born from the collapse of the first stars, growing by swallowing others. Perhaps they formed from clouds of gas collapsing ironically skipping the stage of smaller stars. Whatever their origin, they sit now at the hearts of galaxies, including our own, shaping the motion of billions of stars. Their thirst is ancient, their patience vast. They do not chase, they hold. They are the steady anchors of cosmic architecture. For us on Earth, far from these horizons, black holes pose no threat. The nearest known stellar black hole is thousands of light years away. Our sun is too small ever to collapse into one. The gravity that drinks light does not reach across the cosmos to find us. Instead, it teaches us from afar the rules of space-time. It shows us how geometry can bend, how time can stretch, how silence can hold. In their mystery, black holes are less monsters than mirrors, reflecting our hunger to understand the universe's deepest laws. When we look at the image of a black hole's shadow, captured by the Event Horizon Telescope, we see more than light and dark. We see the curve of space itself, traced by photons that nearly escaped but were bent into orbit before fading. The bright ring is matter in its final spiral, glowing as it falls. The dark center is not the hole itself, but the shadow of escape routes that no longer exist. To gaze at this image is to look at the edge of silence, the rim of gravity's thirst. It is to witness the boundary between the visible and the forever unseen. And yet beyond science, black holes remind us of balance. They are not only consumers but also creators of shape. Their gravity organizes galaxies, their feeding ignites quasars, their silence offers structure. Without them, the universe would be scattered, less defined, less patterned. Gravity's ability to drink light is also its ability to give light meaning, by curving its path, shaping its journey, setting the stage on which cosmic stories unfold. In their darkness, black holes illuminate the truth that even silence has power, and even absence has form. So let us rest in the thought that the cosmos is not chaos but order, not noise but song. Black holes are verses of that song, deep notes resonating beneath the higher pitches of stars. They are reminders that light itself is not immune to the rules, that freedom has its edges, and that beauty can live even in silence. Gravity drinks light, yes, but in doing so it teaches us to see more clearly, to imagine more deeply, to wonder more gently. And in that wonder, the night sky becomes not only a map of stars, but a lullaby of curves, shadows, and endless calm. To close our reflection on the gravity that drinks light, let us sink into its quietest lessons. Black holes may seem like cosmic endings, but when we listen closely, they also become beginnings, thresholds, and mirrors of mystery. Their silence is not empty. It is full of meaning, full of hidden design, and full of calm reminders that even the fiercest forces of the cosmos have their own rhythm, their own gentleness, their own poetry. Picture again a photon, that restless traveler. It leaves the heart of a star, slips through layers of plasma, and sails across the open void. For millions of years, it may wander freely, carrying the memory of its birthplace. But if its path drifts near a black hole, the photon is faced with the final bend. It may arc, circle, or spiral inward. To us, it seems lost, swallowed into darkness. But perhaps, in another sense, it is simply returning home, to the deep geometry that shaped its journey from the start. Gravity does not seize the photon like a thief. It folds space so tightly that the photon can no longer find the way out. The act is quiet, inevitable, serene. Black holes are sometimes described as monsters, but they are also guardians of order. Without them, galaxies might scatter. Their pull holds the centers firm, keeps billions of stars in graceful orbits, and sculpts the elegant spirals we admire in the night sky. Their thirst does not unravel creation, it anchors it. To see them as devourers alone is to miss their deeper gift, stability. They are the invisible hearts that let galaxies sing in harmony for billions of years. They are silence, yes, but silence that shapes. The deepest mystery of black holes lies in the singularity, the point within where all known physics falters. Our equations fall silent there, unable to describe what lies inside. Is it truly a point of infinite density? Is it something else, waiting for a new kind of understanding? We do not yet know. The singularity is the hidden core of the thirst, the ultimate place where gravity folds space and time beyond our grasp. Some imagine it as a doorway, perhaps leading to other universes. Others see it as an end, a place where paths conclude. For now, it remains an unseen horizon within the horizon, a reminder that the universe still keeps secrets close to its chest. And yet, even without knowing the singularity, we have learned so much from the rim. The edges of black holes have taught us about time dilation, about gravitat. Ional waves, about the way light bends into arcs and rings. They have confirmed Einstein's visions, proved his equations again and again, and shown us that reality is stranger and more elegant than we dared imagine. In their silence, black holes have become teachers, offering us lessons in patience, humility, and wonder. Some scientists speak of information, the subtle patterns carried in matter and light. If a black hole swallows a star, does the information of that star vanish? Quantum theory insists it cannot. Information may be scrambled, altered, woven into faint Hawking radiation, but it cannot be erased. This puzzle, known as the information paradox, is one of the deepest questions of physics today. The answer, when it comes, will not only explain black holes, but also reveal something fundamental about reality itself. Once again, we see that the gravity that drinks light is also the gravity that feeds our curiosity, drawing us inward toward deeper truths. Now let us leave the mathematics behind and drift back into feeling. Imagine floating at a safe distance from a black hole, watching the glow of its accretion disk. The light spirals inward like golden threads on a dark loom. Occasionally, a flare leaps upward, bright as a lighthouse on the edge of night. The disk hums with motion, but at the center there is only stillness. You feel the paradox, the brightest light born at the rim of the deepest dark, the calmest silence shaping the most furious motion. It is a sight both humbling and soothing, reminding you that opposites can live together in harmony. Even the thought of black holes can be a comfort. They remind us that not everything must be solved, not everything must be seen. There is beauty in the hidden, in the unknowable, in the places where light itself cannot go. Our human minds are restless, always seeking, but sometimes it is enough to rest in mystery. To know that the universe contains such depths is to feel part of something larger than answers, part of a story that will always unfold beyond us. In that sense, black holes are not only cosmic objects, they are invitations to peace. And what of the future? In the far ages, long after stars have burned out and galaxies have dimmed, black holes will remain. They will be the last lighthouses of gravity, the final anchors in a fading cosmos. Slowly, through Hawking radiation, they will give back their mass, shrinking, glowing faintly, and then vanishing. The universe will end as quietly as it began, not with a roar but with a hush. The thirst of gravity will be quenched, and silence will stretch unbroken. This is not a fearful vision, but a gentle one. The cosmos is a cycle of brightness and stillness, and every cycle has its rest. So let us close with an image. Imagine lying beneath your night sky, the stars scattered, the Milky Way faint across the horizon. Somewhere far beyond your sight, black holes turn slowly, waiting in silence. They do not threaten you, they do not reach. They simply hold the pattern, drinking light at their rims, shaping galaxies with their weight. Their silence is not distant from yours. It is the same silence you feel when you breathe deeply, when you pause between thoughts, when you rest in stillness. The gravity that drinks light is also the calm that holds you, part of the same fabric, part of the same endless lullaby. The story of black holes is not only a tale of power, it is a tale of balance. Light and dark, sound and silence, freedom and gravity, all woven together into the grand design of the cosmos. To know this is to feel less fear and more wonder, less urgency and more calm. The night sky becomes not only a ceiling of stars, but a mirror of stillness, reminding us that the universe is vast, mysterious, and above all, gentle in its quiet power. The gravity that drinks light also gives us rest, and in its endless silence we find peace. At the very edge of a black hole lies a boundary unlike any other in the universe. It is not a wall you can touch, nor a shore you can stand upon, but a horizon, an invisible threshold where the rules of space and time begin to blur. This is the event horizon, the rim of silence that guards the unknowable. Nothing that crosses it returns, not even light. And yet, though the horizon itself is silent, it sends whispers to the universe. These whispers are faint glimmers, brief flares, subtle distortions of light and time. They are the soft edges of mystery, inviting us to listen. Imagine walking across a wide plain at dusk. Ahead, the land falls suddenly into a canyon. You cannot see the bottom, only the cliff's edge. That edge is like the event horizon. It is the last place you can stand before the drop, the final moment of certainty before mystery takes over. To an object falling into a black hole, the horizon is not special. It is crossed without pause. But to us, watching from afar, the horizon glows with significance. It is where paths vanish, where time seems to freeze, where whispers of the unseen reach our instruments. The whispers arrive as light bent and stretched. When matter falls toward the horizon, it spirals, heating as it compresses. For a moment it glows brightly, sending out photons that race into the cosmos. But gravity stretches those photons, dragging their color toward red, dimming them until they fade. From our view, it is as though the falling matter slows, lingering at the horizon, whispering its last words before silence swallows them. The whispers are not shouts. They are faint, fading syllables carried on the long breath of space-time. Scientists have built telescopes to listen more carefully to these faint voices. The Event Horizon Telescope, a network of radio dishes scattered across Earth, has captured the shadows of black holes. The images are not sharp photographs but soft impressions, like the blurred outline of a candle behind fog. They show rings of light circling dark centers, the whispers of matter at the brink. To see these images is to glimpse the whispers made visible, the rim where gravity drinks light, the line between the known and the hidden. The event horizon also whispers in time. Near its edge, time dilates, stretching for those who fall. To us, it appears as though a clock falling toward the horizon slows, its ticking drawn out until it seems to stop. We never see it cross. Instead, the horizon becomes a frozen frame, holding the image of the falling object forever. This illusion is one of the horizon's quietest whispers, telling us that time itself is not steady but pliable, that it can be shaped by gravity as easily as clay is shaped by hands. Beyond the scientific whispers lie the poetic ones, the feelings the horizon awakens in us. It is a threshold, and thresholds always carry meaning. They are places of transition, of choice, of unknown. The event horizon is the universe's deepest threshold, the place where questions gather. What lies beyond? What becomes of light, of matter, of information? Does it vanish, or is it transformed? These questions linger like echoes, whispering to us that not all can be answered, that some truths rest forever just beyond reach. Whispers from the horizon also arrive in the form of gravitational waves. When two black holes spiral together, their horizons merge and space-time ripples outward. These waves are impossibly faint, stretching the fabric of the cosmos by less than the width of an atom, yet we can measure them. The waves are whispers of motion, carrying news of horizons colliding across billions of years. They remind us that even silence moves, that even boundaries have voices when they meet. Listening to them is like hearing the ocean's tide through a seashell, soft, distant, but unmistakably real. For the stars that circle close, the horizon is a silent guardian. They whirl around the black hole in tight ellipses, held in place by its gravity but never crossing its edge. Their paths whisper of the horizon's strength, revealing its mass, its stability, its patient hold. By watching these stars, astronomers weigh the unseen, finding proof of horizons without ever touching them. The orbits are messages written in starlight, quiet testimonies to the presence of something vast and dark. And sometimes the whispers are bursts. A star wanders too close, pulled apart by tides near the horizon. Its gas spirals inward, flaring brightly as it falls. For weeks or months, the galaxy shines with the memory of its passing. Then the light fades and the horizon closes again. These events are rare, but they remind us that horizons are not static. They are active edges, occasionally lit by sacrifice, briefly luminous before returning to silence. The whisper becomes a sigh and then a hush. To stand beneath your own night sky and think of horizons is to remember that you too live at thresholds. Every day is an edge between what has been and what will be. Every breath is a horizon between inhale and exhale. The universe reflects this truth in grand scale. The event horizon is its reminder that boundaries are real, that some edges cannot be crossed, and yet those edges can still speak to us. The whispers invite wonder, not fear. They remind us that the universe is vast, but also intimate, sharing its quiet secrets with those who listen. So let us carry the image of the horizon as a circle of light around a shadow. It is not only a scientific reality, but also a symbol, the presence of mystery, framed by the glow of what we can know. The whispers are the faint voices of that frame, carrying across the silence of space. They say, here is the edge, here is the unknown, here is the place where silence begins. And in hearing them, we find peace, for we realize that mystery is not a barrier, but a companion, always near, always gentle, always waiting at the rim of our sight. When we lean closer to the whispers from the event horizon, we discover that they are not only scientific signals, but owls. Oh, gentle lessons written into the fabric of reality. The horizon seems like an end, yet in truth it is a place of transformation. It is where matter and light surrender their freedom, where time bends, where physics itself hesitates. These hesitations ripple outward as whispers, hints of something deeper that we cannot yet see. To listen to them is to stand on the edge of knowledge, hearing the soft voices of mystery calling from beyond. One of the clearest whispers comes from light itself. As matter spirals toward the horizon, its glow stretches into longer and longer waves. To our eyes, the light dims and reddens until it slips beyond visible sight. This redshift is not only a change in color, but a message. Gravity is bending time and space so strongly that even light must slow in its song. The fading brightness is like the final note of a violin string, stretched until it dissolves into silence. Every photon carries this message, whispering to us of the strength that waits at the rim. Another whisper comes in the form of heat. As gas swirls near the horizon, friction and compression heat it to millions of degrees. It shines in X-rays and radio waves, invisible to our eyes but bright to our instruments. These flashes are like sparks flying from a hidden forge, brief and fleeting but rich with meaning. They tell us of the dance of particles, the grip of magnetic fields, the churn of plasma near the edge. Though we cannot cross the horizon, we can read its borderlands in these sparks, hearing the faint crackle of energy before it vanishes into silence. The event horizon also whispers through its shadow. When astronomers combined telescopes across Earth to create the Event Horizon Telescope, they captured the outline of a black hole's silhouette. It appeared as a ring of light surrounding darkness, the glow of matter spiraling in, framing the place from which no light escapes. This image is itself a whisper, not a clear photograph, but a soft impression like candlelight caught through fog. Yet within that whisper lies truth. The shape matches Einstein's predictions, confirming that gravity curves spacetime just as he imagined. A blurred ring, a dark center, a whisper written in light and shadow. Gravitational waves are another language of the horizon. When two black holes spiral into each other, their horizons merge and spacetime ripples outward. These waves are whispers in motion, spreading across the universe like gentle tremors in a vast lake. They are not loud, not violent. They are delicate, stretching space by less than the width of a proton, and yet we can hear them. Instruments on Earth, sensitive beyond imagination, record their passing as faint chirps. These chirps are the whispers of horizons meeting, of silences blending, of the cosmos singing in vibrations too soft for any ear but perfect for the universe itself. There are also whispers of paradox. Physicists wonder what happens to information that falls into a black hole. Is it lost forever? Does the horizon erase it? Or is it somehow preserved, woven into Hawking radiation, encoded in ways we cannot yet see? This puzzle, the information paradox, is one of the quietest yet deepest whispers of all. It tells us that the horizon holds secrets about the foundations of physics, about the marriage of quantum theory and gravity. Each attempt to answer it is like leaning closer to a murmur just out of reach, hearing fragments of words, but never the full sentence. The whispers also carry memory. In the glow of X-rays and the arcs of bent light, we see the traces of stars that have wandered too close. A star torn apart near the horizon leaves behind a flare, a temporary brilliance. That light travels outward, crossing millions of years until it reaches our telescopes. By the time we see it, the star is gone, but its whisper remains. It is a message across time, reminding us that even when matter vanishes, its voice can echo in light. The horizon does not shout. It lets stories slip away, leaving only their fading glow. We may think of these whispers as fragile, but they are persistent. They cross unimaginable distances. They endure for billions of years. They reach us in waves, photons, and patterns of motion. In their persistence, they remind us that silence is not absolute. Even at the brink of the unknown, there are voices, signals, traces. The horizon speaks not in clear tones, but in hints, suggestions, murmurs. To be human is to learn how to hear them, to build instruments sensitive enough, to wait patiently enough, to let the whispers reveal themselves in time. Let us imagine ourselves drifting near an event horizon, though safely far enough not to cross. The black circle ahead is perfect and silent. Around it, a ring of light burns, blurred and shifting, the last glow of matter spiraling in. Occasionally, a flare bursts upward, a whisper shouted for an instant before fading. The stars around the horizon appear distorted, bent into arcs. By gravity's lens, time feels slower here, stretched like soft fabric. In this scene, the whispers are not only light and waves, they are also feelings, the awe of seeing geometry itself turned into shadow and glow, the calm of knowing that silence can still speak. Even in philosophy, the horizon whispers. It reminds us of limits, of the boundaries of knowledge. We are not meant to know everything. Some mysteries must remain just beyond reach or they would lose their depth. The horizon teaches us to be humble, to accept that there are edges we cannot cross, but that does not diminish their beauty. Instead, it makes them more precious. The whispers are invitations, not answers. They tell us, listen, wonder, dream, that is enough. In the end, the event horizon is both silence and voice. It is the place where stories end, and yet it tells us more about the universe than almost anything else. Its whispers are written in bent light, stretched time, faint flares, rippling waves. To listen is to step into a deeper calm, to hear the universe not shouting but humming softly at its edges. These whispers are not frightening. They are soothing, like the last notes of a song carried on the air long after the music has stopped. So let us hold on to the whispers. They remind us that mystery is gentle, that silence can speak, that edges can sing. When you look into the night sky and imagine the unseen, you are already listening. You are already part of the dialogue between light and dark, sound and silence, known and unknown. The event horizon is far away, but its whispers reach you here in your breath, in your thoughts, in the calm of the night. And in hearing them, you find peace. The whispers from the event horizon are not just voices of science. They are lullabies of existence, soothing reminders that the universe holds both questions and calm. To bring this story to its close, let us rest in the deepest meanings of those whispers and what they tell us not only about black holes but about ourselves. The horizon is not a wall but a mirror, reflecting both the limits of knowledge and the beauty of mystery. In its silence, it speaks to the quiet places of our own being. One of the horizon's softest whispers is patience. Matter may spiral inward for thousands of years before crossing the edge. From afar, we see it stretch and fade, its light lingering endlessly at the rim. The horizon does not hurry. It waits, steady and calm. This patience is woven into the universe itself, reminding us that not everything needs to happen quickly. Stars form over millions of years. Galaxies turn once in hundreds of millions. Time at the horizon stretches into near infinity. To hear this whisper is to breathe more slowly, to know that the cosmos is not in haste, and neither must we be. Another whisper is humility. No matter how powerful our instruments, no matter how far our telescopes see, we cannot look beyond the horizon. There will always be truths hidden from us. This is not failure, it is a gift. Mystery is part of beauty. The horizon tells us, here is where your vision ends, but not your wonder. Just as a horizon on Earth invites us to imagine the lands beyond, so does the event horizon invite us to dream of what lies inside. To live with questions is not weakness. It is the essence of curiosity, the heart of science, and the source of poetry. The whispers also tell us of cycles. When a star drifts too close and is torn apart, its light flares outward before it vanishes. That light crosses space, perhaps touching another world, perhaps sparking questions in another mind. Even as the star itself disappears, its story lives on in the glow it leaves behind. Nothing is entirely lost. Matter becomes energy. Energy becomes whispers of light. Even silence has echoes. The horizon drinks, but it also transforms, returning what it takes in subtle, patient ways. Perhaps the most profound whisper is connection. The event horizon seems distant, millions or billions of light years away, but its effects reach us here. The gravitational waves it sends pass through your body, stretching and squeezing you by tiny fractions, unnoticed yet real. The photons bent at its edge find their way to your eyes, painting arcs of lensed galaxies across the night sky. You are not apart from the horizon. You are touched by it, part of the same fabric, living inside the same story. Its whispers are not only out there, they resonate within you. Let us imagine the future. Black holes will outlive stars and galaxies. For eons beyond counting, they will sit in silence, their horizons whispering faintly through Hawking radiation. Slowly they will fade, returning their mass to the cosmos, particle by particle, photon by photon. Even then, the whispers continue until at last the horizon vanishes into nothing. The end is not abrupt. It is a long exhale, a slow release. The universe itself will sigh into silence, the final whisper of the horizons that once defin. At its grandest mysteries, this thought, though vast, carries calm. Everything begins, everything ends, and between is the quiet rhythm of being. In your own life, the whispers may remind you of thresholds you cannot cross, of questions you cannot yet answer. The unknown can feel daunting, but it is also comforting. It gives space for imagination, for growth, for stillness. Just as the horizon invites us to listen rather than to see, so too can our own unknowns invite us to rest rather than to solve. The universe does not demand constant answers. It offers quiet, patient mystery, waiting like the horizon for us simply to notice. As we close this story, picture once more the ring of light surrounding darkness. The glow is not endless, but it is enough. It frames the mystery, offering both knowledge and wonder. Around the rim, whispers rise, redshifted photons, flares of gas, ripples of spacetime, the patient hum of radiation. They drift across the cosmos until they reach us, faint but real. To hear them is to be reminded that even silence has a voice, even endings have beauty, even edges have meaning. The horizon does not shout. It hums, it sings softly, it whispers. So tonight, beneath your own sky, you might pause and listen. You will not hear the horizon with your ears, but with your heart. In the calm between your breaths, in the pause between your thoughts, in the silence between stars, the whispers are there. They say, the universe is vast, but it holds you. The unknown is deep, but it is gentle. Mystery is not absence, but presence. And in that presence, you are safe. You are part of the song. You are part of the hush. The whispers from the event horizon travel across eternity, only to remind you that silence itself is beautiful, and that within it you can rest. A galaxy is a vast and graceful swirl, a river of stars turning slowly in the dark. To look at one is to see harmony, but beneath that harmony lies hunger. Stars are born from clouds of gas, burn their fuel, and return their matter to space. Black holes wait at the centers, feeding quietly on what drifts too near. The galaxy as a whole consumes, transforms, and creates again. This endless cycle is its hunger, not a wild or reckless desire, but a steady rhythm that has lasted for billions of years. To speak of the galaxy's endless hunger is to speak of the way it breathes, taking in, giving out, repeating without pause. Imagine a cloud of hydrogen in the spiral arm of the Milky Way. For millions of years, the cloud drifts, its atoms spread thin. Slowly, gravity pulls it tighter. The gas cools, fragments, and collapses into knots. Within those knots, pressure rises until fusion begins and stars ignite. The galaxy has eaten from its reservoir of gas, and in return it offers light. For a time, the stars shine steadily, their hunger burning hydrogen into helium and helium into heavier elements. The galaxy's appetite is not destructive. It is creative, turning clouds into suns, suns into warmth, warmth into worlds. But stars cannot burn forever. A small star like our sun glows for billions of years before gently releasing its outer layers, leaving behind a white dwarf. A massive star burns brighter and faster, ending in a supernova, scattering its enriched guts into space. These explosions seed the galaxy with carbon, oxygen, iron, the elements of rocks, rivers, and living bodies. Hunger transforms. The galaxy consumes hydrogen clouds and returns forests, oceans, and the breath of creatures like us. Its endless appetite is the reason there is soil beneath your feet and oxygen in your lungs. You are, in a quiet way, part of that hunger. The cycle extends deeper. Black holes born from the deaths of massive stars wait like silent mouths. When a star drifts too close, tidal forces pull it apart, stretching it into streams of glowing gas. That gas swirls into a disk, heating until it shines with X-rays and radio waves. To us it appears as a flare, a brief blaze in the dark. To the black hole it is a meal, a sip from the galaxy's reservoir. The hunger of galaxies is not only in creation but in consumption. Both birth and death are woven together into the endless appetite of the cosmos. Even galaxies themselves feed. When small galaxies drift too close to larger ones, they are pulled apart, their stars absorbed, their gas folded into new clouds. The Milky Way has swallowed many smaller companions over time. Traces of their stars linger as streams arcing across the sky, faint rivers of light that tell of old feasts. In billions of years, our galaxy will meet Andromeda, and the two will merge. It will not be a violent collision, but a long blending, stars mostly passing by one another, while their gas collides and ignites new generations of stars. The hunger of galaxies is endless because the universe itself offers endless meals, clouds, stars, smaller galaxies, all drifting into one another with patient inevitability. This hunger is not cruel, it is balance. Without it, the galaxy would grow silent, its gas unspent, its stars dim. With it, there is motion, growth, renewal. Each act of consumption feeds creation. Each death carries seeds of new birth. It is the rhythm of the Milky Way's spiral arms, the reason they glow with nebulae and clusters. The hunger is not a monster devouring its children, but a gardener trimming, composting, planting again. Endless, yes, but also gentle, patient, and fruitful. Now imagine yourself floating within this hunger. Around you, stars shine at every distance. Some are newborn, wrapped in veils of dust. Others are ancient, their light dim and steady. Between them lie clouds waiting to collapse into new suns. You are surrounded by the galaxy's appetite, not as a threat, but as a comfort. Every atom in your body was once part of this cycle, eaten and remade many times. The iron in your blood was forged in a star that died long ago. The oxygen you breathe was released in another's final sigh. You are not outside the hunger. You are its expression, its quiet echo, its gentle proof. The endless hunger also stretches into time. The Milky Way is over 13 billion years old, and in that time it has never stopped eating, never stopped creating. There has been no moment of stillness. Always, clouds collapse, stars ignite, stars fade, black holes feed, galaxies merge. The hunger is not a passing phase. It is the heartbeat of the galaxy, slow and steady, pulsing across eons. And just as a heartbeat carries life forward, so does the galaxy's appetite carry existence onward. Without it, the cosmos would stagnate. With it, the cosmos flourishes. It is easy to think of hunger as emptiness, but the galaxy teaches us another meaning. Hunger is possibility. Hunger is change. Hunger is the spark that transforms what is into what will be. The Milky Way's endless hunger is the reason we can gaze at a night sky filled with stars. It is the reason planets form, the reason life emerges, the reason you can feel the warmth of sunlight on your face. To recognize this hunger is to recognize yourself as part of it. You are not apart from the galaxy's appetite. You are one of its creations, born from its rhythm, shining briefly like a star, and one day giving back what you have borrowed. So when you look upward and see the Milky Way stretching across the night, think of it not only as a spectacle of light, but as a feast in motion. Stars burning, clouds collapsing, black holes feeding, galaxies merging, all of it woven into one vast cycle of hunger and creation. It is not terrifying, it is comforting. The galaxy hungers endlessly, and endlessly it creates. You are part of its meal and part of its gift. And in knowing this, you can rest, as though the universe itself were whispering. Your life has meaning because it belongs to the endless rhythm of hunger and renewal. The galaxy's endless hunger is not a single act, but a weaving of countless threads across time. To hear it is to listen to the quiet rhythm of birth, growth, death, and renewal stretched across billions of years. Each star, each planet, each drifting cloud of dust is part of this cycle. Nothing is wasted, nothing is forgotten. The hunger consumes, but in consuming it transforms. This is the deep secret of the cosmos. Destruction is never final, and creation is never complete. Both are bound together in the long patience of the galaxy's appetite. Let us wander into the spiral arms of the Milky Way, where much of this hunger reveals itself. In the glowing nurseries of stars, vast nebulae spread like veils of color. These clouds are not silent. They hum with particles colliding, with magnetic fields shaping their forms. Within them, gravity draws clumps of gas tighter and tighter until fusion sparks. New stars ignite, surrounded by disks of dust that may one day form planets. The galaxy eats its reservoirs of hydrogen, and in return, it births suns. These nurseries are the kitchens of the cosmos, where hunger turns raw material into brilliance. But stars themselves are hungry too. A star like our sun spends its long life consuming hydrogen, fusing it into helium at its core. Each fusion reaction is a small act of hunger, a bite of fuel that becomes light and warmth. Billions of these reactions every second create the steady glow that falls upon Earth. Larger stars are greedier. They burn hotter and faster, consuming their fuel in a few million years instead of billions. Their hunger is fierce but brief, ending in collapse and explosion. In their fiery deaths, they release heavy elements into space, spreading the ingredients of future worlds. A star's hunger becomes a galaxy's feast. The galaxy also hungers for movement. Stars orbit the center, completing long circuits that take hundreds of millions of years. Clusters drift, collide, and scatter. Gas streams along spiral arms, compressed by density waves into new stars. Every motion is part of the hunger, as if the galaxy itself were stirring its contents, mixing clouds and stars like a great cauldron. The appetite is not still. It is a flowing dance, each movement preparing the next meal of creation. Black holes at the centers of galaxies reveal another aspect of hunger. Their pull is steady, waiting for matter to wander too close. When it does, the feeding is dramatic. Matter spirals inward, heating until it shines brighter than whole galaxies. These accretion disks are cosmic bonfires, brief eruptions of brightness born from the silence of hunger. Jets may leap outward, spearing across thousands of light years, lighting the intergalactic void. In these moments, the galaxy's appetite becomes a spectacle, a reminder that even silence has feasts, even emptiness has fire. And yet hunger is not always loud. Between the bursts of quasars and supernovae are the long, quiet stretches where stars burn steadily, where gas drifts patiently, where black holes wait in calm. The galaxy's endless hunger is not chaos but rhythm. Like a heartbeat, it has pulses and rests. The pulses are brilliant, the flares of stars dying, the eruptions of jets, the collisions of galaxies. The rests are soft, the steady glow of stars, the quiet drift of dust, the invisible waiting of horizons. Both are necessary. Without the pulses, nothing would change. Without the rests, nothing would endure. The hunger of galaxies is not confined to matter. It also shapes time. Gravity bends the flow of time near massive objects, stretching moments, slowing clocks. In the dense centers of galaxies, time itself is altered by the hunger of mass. Though subtle, these changes ripple outward, reminding us that hunger is not only physical but woven into the fabric of reality. The endless appetite of galaxies curves not just stars but time itself, pulling even moments into its rhythm. Consider the great collisions of galaxies when hunger grows large. As two galaxies drift close, their stars mostly pass unharmed, for the spaces between them are vast, but their gas clouds collide, compressing into new bursts of star formation. The hunger becomes visible in showers of light as newborn stars fill the sky. The black holes at the centers spiral toward one another, merging in darkness, sending whispers of gravitational waves across the cosmos. The collision is not destruction alone. It is a feast that produces new galaxies, reshaped and renewed. Even in this, hunger transforms into creation. Our Milky Way, too, bears scars of past meals. Streams of stars stretch across the sky, remnants of smaller galaxies devoured long ago. These streams are quiet testimonies to the endless appetite of our home. They remind us that the galaxy we inhabit is not fixed but growing, shaped by what it has consumed. In a few billion years, the Milky Way itself will merge with Andromeda, forming a new, larger galaxy. The hunger will continue, on scales so vast that even the word endless feels small. On the smallest scales, the hunger reaches into you. Every atom in your body was once part of this cycle. The carbon in your cells, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, all were forged in stars that consumed their fuel and died. You are a meal transformed into life, a whisper of the galaxy's appetite carried into thought and breath. When you look at the stars, you are not only gazing outward. You are looking into the hunger that created you, the same hunger that will one day reclaim your atoms and weave them back into the fabric of the cosmos. The endless hunger of galaxies is, in the end, not frightening but comforting. It is the assurance that nothing is wasted, that everything is part of a larger cycle. Stars are born, stars die, matter is remade. Galaxies feed, galaxies merge, galaxies grow. The rhythm does not end. It continues as long as there is matter to consume, as long as there is time to turn. And even when matter thins, even when stars grow rare, the hunger will linger, whispering across the silence of space until the last lights fade. So let us rest in this truth. The galaxy's hunger is not chaos but order, not loss but renewal. It is the quiet engine behind the glow of the night sky, the patient breath behind every star. To belong to it is to belong to something eternal, something steady, something endlessly creative. You are not outside this hunger. You are one of its luminous expressions. And when you gaze into the Milky Way, stretching like a river of light across the dark, you are looking into the endless appetite that gave you form. In that gaze, you can find peace, knowing that the hunger will never cease, and in its rhythm you are held. The galaxy's endless hunger is a story with no final chapter, a song that plays long after stars have faded, a rhythm that belongs to both the vast and the small. To close this reflection, let us settle into the calm awareness that this hunger is not only about consuming, but about transforming, weaving every atom into peas, new lives, new possibilities. It is the quiet background of existence, steady and patient, reminding us that nothing is lost, everything is recycled, and the cosmos itself is one great breath. Imagine the long arc of time ahead. Stars burn now, their light bright against the dark, but billions of years from today, many will be gone. The largest will end in supernovae, scattering their heavy elements into space. The smaller ones will fade into white dwarfs, glowing faintly like embers. Yet the galaxy's hunger will not end. Those scattered elements will gather again, drawn into new clouds, forming fresh stars and planets. The cycle will continue not once but many times. Each round of hunger enriches the galaxy further, making new worlds with richer chemistry, new possibilities for life to bloom. The hunger reaches beyond stars into galaxies themselves. Already the Milky Way is pulling smaller companions inward, stripping them of stars and gas. These are quiet meals, hardly noticed except by the faint streams of starlight left behind. But in the future, the great banquet awaits, the merging of the Milky Way with Andromeda. It will be a slow, graceful embrace unfolding over billions of years. Stars will weave together, clouds will collide, black holes will spiral into one. The hunger will find new scale, consuming and transforming two galaxies into one. And even then, the appetite will not rest. It will go on, shaping, merging, remaking. The black hole at the center of our galaxy is the most patient mouth of all. Sagittarius A is quiet now, sipping only occasionally from passing gas or stars. But in time, as galaxies collide and gas falls inward, it may flare again, glowing with the brilliance of a quasar. Its hunger is not gone. It waits, calm and steady, ready to feed when the universe delivers. For billions of years more, it will drink what comes, shaping the galaxy around it with its silent gravity. And though it consumes light, it also gives back, sending out whispers of radiation, bending time, rippling space. Its appetite is both silence and song. In the farthest future, the galaxy's hunger will slow. Gas will thin, stars will grow rare. Black holes will dominate, swallowing what remains. But even then, the hunger will not vanish, it will shift. Black holes will merge, releasing gravitational waves that ripple outward, carrying whispers of the final feasts. Eventually, even the black holes will fade through Hawking radiation, returning their mass to the cosmos in a slow exhale. The hunger will end not with violence but with peace, not with fire but with quiet release. The galaxy will have eaten, transformed, and finally sighed into stillness. This vision may sound somber, yet it is also comforting. The endless hunger is not cruel. It does not take without giving. It turns clouds into stars, stars into worlds, worlds into life. It takes atoms from silence and weaves them into song. And when it is finished, it returns everything, scattering it again into the wide dark. The rhythm is fair, balanced, eternal in its way. To live within it is to live within a promise, that you are part of something greater, something patient, something endlessly creative. Think of yourself again beneath the stars. The Milky Way stretches across the night, a pale river of light. Within it, stars burn, planets circle, clouds collapse, black holes wait. Every shimmer you see is part of the galaxy's appetite, every shadow part of its renewal. And you standing there are not separate. The atoms in your body were eaten and remade countless times before finding their way into you. One day they will be returned, borrowed again by the galaxy's hunger, reshaped into new forms. In this way, you are both the meal and the light, both the echo and the voice. The endless hunger is also endless belonging. It means that no atom, no star, no galaxy is ever alone. Everything is part of the cycle, connected by gravity, by transformation, by time. To know this is to feel less fragile. Your life may be brief compared to the age of stars, but it is not small. It is a thread in the great weave, a note in the endless song. The hunger that creates and consumes galaxies is the same hunger that forged your breath, your blood, your being. You are not outside the rhythm. You are its proof. So let us close with calm. The galaxy's hunger is not to be feared, but to be cherished. It is the reason there are stars to guide us, planets to hold us, elements to form us. It is the endless appetite of creation, always consuming, always transforming, always renewing. And though it is vast beyond measure, it is also intimate, written into the atoms of your own body, carried in every heartbeat, whispered in every breath. You belong to it, you always have, you always will. When you gaze into the night sky, remember this truth. The galaxy is hungry, yes, but its hunger is gentle, eternal, and creative. It will outlast you, outlast stars, outlast Zeis themselves, yet you are part of it now and forever, a spark within its endless cycle. The galaxy's hunger is not only endless, it is endless love, endless patience, endless transformation. And in knowing this, you can rest as if the universe itself were breathing softly. You are part of me, you are part of the hunger, you are part of the calm.